I came to live in this room in 1951. Even now, this room is here, the darkness is here, everything is the same. Even now, my neighbors are here, those old rooms are here. Some people have gone away. Some found nowhere else to go. They are still here. A few things have improved. Now there is electricity here. It wasn't here then. It used to be pitch dark. The municipal corporation allotted this room to me then. The rent was 6 rupees. This was in the year 1951.
नारायण सुर्वेंची माझे विद्यापीठ ही कविता खरं म्हणजे 1960 नंतर ज्या प्रकारची बांधिलकीची सामिलकीची सर्व समाजाची म्हणून जी कविता आली.
Narayan Surve's poem My University appeared at a time when it was truly a representative poem of a period in which there dawned a new spirit of social commitment and a poetry that one may call the poetry of the common people. This poem is a pioneering representative of that genre. The whole collection of poems entitled My University is full of ordinary people. It is crowded by characters of small people fighting for life with values of their own, fighting against misery, fighting with pain. In these, we find Yaqub the horseshoe fixer, Chandra the prostitute, African Chacha, youths such as Hanmya and Islia, the paster of posters. Such minor character sketches fill the poems in this book. It heralds the age of Dalit writing that followed, autobiographical, confessional writing, a whole movement that said, we have something of our own to say, and we can say it in our own language, our own slang and dialects. This confidence was first expressed in My University. I would request Surveji to read some of it to us.
ना घर होते न गणगोत ना घर होते न गणगोत चालेल तेवढी
I had no home nor kith and kin. The ground beneath my feet was as wide as I could cover. There were shop fronts for a shelter, and of course the city's many pavements. Such was the given life where one rose and rested, rested and rose again. Each day, darkness came and went away, laying its empty basket to cover me and my world. I have counted the lampposts of these streets again and again, read the alphabet on these boards. I've seen a lot of people cancelled out in the sums of practical transactions. These ghettos and tenements dividing people into castes and communities, the numbered red lights on doors, the evening crowds swarming around the cages of whorehouses. Among such smouldering, burnt in the search for bread people of the hapless Basti, Tongas would return, horses fell down, I stood with a box of horseshoes and nails.
घोडे लोळण घेत होते उभा होतो नालीचा खोका सांभाळत.
A worker I am the sword that flashes out. So saying, Narayan Surve entered the realm of Marathi poetry. That is very true, but his poetry is deeply informed by Marxist and communist ideology. How this ideology was grasped by him is explained by him in his poem Karl Marx, and it is my favorite poem. It is remarkable that Surve learnt his Marxism directly from his personal involvement in working class movements and the class struggle. His first encounter with Marx was in a meeting during a strike. His second was when Marx himself spoke to him at another meeting, analyzing human misery, exploitation, and related questions. In their third encounter, Surve himself begins to expound Marxism, and he finds Marx himself in his audience applauding him.
माझ्या पहिल्या संपातच मार्क्स मला असा भेटला. माझ्या
This
पहिल्या
is how I met Marx during my very first strike. I was in the midst of demonstrators, carrying his banner upon my shoulders. Janaki Akka asked, "Recognize him? This is our Marx Baba. Born in Germany, wrote about a sack full of books, returned to the dust in the soil of England. My son, after all, for a sannyasi, the whole earth is the same. Like you, he too had little ones to feed. In my very first strike, this is how Marx met me."
सुर्व्यांची कविता मला खूप वेगवेगळ्या अर्थाने लक्षणीय
Rekha Inamdar Sane
1962 साली
finds Surve's poetry a significant departure in many respects.
आणि त्यातल्या कविता
Surve was the first one to distinctly categorize us and them. It is said that Surve's poetry derives from the collective consciousness of his contemporaries, but it goes far beyond class consciousness. For example, his poem Satya is an unconventional love poem about a newly married couple where the husband is asked to find work for his bride too.
परंतु या सगळ्यामध्ये मला त्यांची एक वेगळीच आणखी कविता आठवते आणि ती मला त्यांना म्हणायला सांगावीशी वाटते. ती म्हणजे सत्य या नावाची त्यांची एक कविता आहे की जी रूढार्थाने प्रेम कविता नाही, ती एका नवविवाहित जोडप्याची कविता आहे आणि उद्यापासून तिलाही काम बघ असं त्याच्यामध्ये सांगितलेलं आहे. अजिबात गुलगुलीत नाही, सुखासीन नाही आणि असं एक चित्र त्या कवितेमध्ये आहे की जे एकाच वेळेला आपल्याला व्याकुळ करतं त्यातल्या जाणीवेने.
तुझे गरम ओठ, तुझे गरम ओठ
When your warm lips met mine, the night was silent then as it is now. Over there the factories rattled on. In the rooms in the tenements lay people on mattresses. The mullah cried for the last time for Allah. The hands of the clock crossed hour after hour. Mother crouched in the corner with her children, smoldering. Father went down with his bedroll to the pavement. Your warm lips turned into rock candy then. The night was persuasive then as it is now. We were struggling only for a home. Your breasts, your belly heaved with feeling. Your body blossomed with beauty. A cherished wish conceived. The home was filled with toys. The tenement resounded with claps. You bent with ceremonial coconuts and contentment. Your warm lips inflamed more with a new fire then. Another night like this one came with a refusal then. You sat like a mother bird with little ones under your wings. The corner of the room choked, whimpered, hurt, said, "Narayana," almost burst, muttering, "Take the bread from the basket. Tomorrow you must find a job for her too." That hit me, toppled me. Then I steadied myself. I touched her lips with mine, took my own bedroll and stepped out. That night I found her lips juicier than ever before.
सिंक्यावरची भाकर घे बाबा, पुटपुटला. उद्यापासून तिलाही काम बघ बाबा. गांगरलो गांगरलो गांगरून भोवंडून स्थिर झालो. त्याच रात्री तिच्या ओठावर ओठ टेकून बिछाण्यासह मी देखील बापासारखाच बाहेर आलो. त्या रात्री तिचे ओठ अधिकच रसाळ वाटले.
नारायण सुर्वे यांची कविता मला मराठी कवितेच्या इतिहासामध्ये महत्त्वाची वाटते. त्याचं कारण असं की त्यांची कविता प्रामुख्याने 6व्या दशकाचं प्रतिनिधित्व करते आणि या कविता बहुतांशी संभाषण शैलीमध्ये लिहिलेले आहेत, संवाद रूपामध्ये आलेले.
In the history of Marathi poetry, I find Surve's poetry significant because it truly represents the spirit of the 60s. These poems are ironic in tone and conversational in style. Among them, my favorite is a poem, Money Order, in which a common prostitute dictates a letter that is a sharp critique of the entire system. I would request Surve to read it. And listen, also write that I am happy here. My body does ache, but it's better here than in the village. Men come here and go like clouds showering rain. But Babdi sullenly asks everyone, "How many others did you go to before coming to me?" Come now, after all, he is a male. He says, "Lie down," you lie down. Why do their women let them off the leash? I'm telling this only to you. Write further, I'm sending this money order late, but I'm sending it anyhow. Say, new ornaments have to be made. I've sent ornaments with Vishnu and 10 less than 50 rupees. Buy books for Gangi with them and a pair of shorts for Namya. Give them 10 paise every day so that the kids go to school. Give my love to both. Costs are rising here too. Men ask for fresh bed sheets. The mirror is looking faded too. In this heat, you must have a fan. No, don't write that. But I said it only because you're listening. See, one feels like laughing. To write or not to write. Once a customer came here and asked me, "Why stay here? Will you become my wife?" I said, "Am I not sleeping with you otherwise?" So he lost his temper, and I felt like laughing at all men. You know, this skin is a very nasty thing. Man sticks to it like a tick, and then he says whatever that comes into his mind. Men make me laugh and cry too. But the skin does attract man like it attracts all animals. You must be bored. Everything is like being bored. Do come here now and then. Narayan Surve is the architect of the transformation of Marathi poetry in the 60s. I believe that he is the third Keshav Sut in Marathi poetry after Madhekar. His poetry troubles the conscience by depicting sketches of poverty, misery, and exploitation. It connects me with human suffering, which is the most valuable relationship in the world. His poem, Swatahalaच Rachit Gelo, is an example.
स्वतःलाच रचित गेलो.
Never depended upon the expression of heaven. Couldn't salute anyone for a favor. Have seen many prophets, that's true, but have never found myself with folded hands. Have mingled with everybody, yet nobody has noticed me. Why are we like this? I've never even asked me. Didn't form a herd to move around in the pastures of paradise. I went on building myself, and that habit has stayed with me.
हरेकांना दिसू आलोच नाही. वावरलो हरेकात हरेकांना दिसू आलोच नाही. आम्ही असे कसे असा प्रश्न स्वतःलाही केला नाही. कळप करून ब्रह्मांडात हमरत हिंडलो नाही. कळप करून ब्रह्मांडात हमरत हिंडलो नाही. स्वतःलाच रचित गेलो ही सवय गेलीच नाही. स्वतःलाच रचित गेलो ही सवय गेलीच नाही.
सुर्व्यांच्या कवितेला मराठी काव्य परंपरेत एकूण कुठे स्थान किंवा प्लेसमेंट ज्याला म्हणतो आपण ती करायची असा जर प्रश्न आला तर मला असं वाटतं की भांडवलशाहीमधील आणि यंत्रयुगामधील माणसाची जी अवस्था झाली ज्याला आपण माणसाचं अमानुषीकरण झालं म्हणतो माणूस परात्म झाला म्हणतो आणि त्या परात्मीकरणाचं क्षुद्रीकरणाचं माणसाच्या मार्क्सनं पहिल्यांदा तिकडे लक्ष वेधलं आणि मराठी काव्यामध्ये हे काम मर्ढेकरांनी केलं. आता याच्यावरती उतारा आपल्याला दोन बाजूनी दिसतो मराठी कवितेमध्ये आलेला. म्हणजे एक प्रकारे तो मर्ढेकरांना दिलेला प्रतिसाद होता. म्हणजे चित्रे
Placing Surve in the tradition of Marathi poetry is important.
परंपरेतून त्याच्यावरती एक
It was Marx who drew attention first to human alienation. In Marathi poetry, Mardekar dealt with it first. The response of his successors is twofold. Chitre and Kolatkar sought to solve the problem by returning to the Bhakti tradition, while Surve and Muktibodh dealt with it in a Marxist spirit. Let us listen to the poem Surya Kulatil Lok.
इथले सर्व काही नाकारून, इथले सर्व काही नाकारून माझे शब्द
Rejecting all, my words have already set out. Aren't you packed up to go yet?
इथले सर्व
Why
काही
worry about
नाकारून
patching
माझे
up those
शब्द
19
केव्हा
holes?
अजून तुझी
Haven't you decked your
आवरावर
hair with
झाली
flowers
का
yet?
नाही?
Why lock the house? Leave the door of the house open. Haven't you got rid of your attachments yet? Those prayer beads, those holy books, those idols hung on the wall. Only yesterday you said they've done no good. I write on the door my last utterance for those who will follow us. The son's descendants do not wait. What use is a name here? Why fear anonymity? Aren't the prints of our hands enough of a sign? Aren't you packed up to go yet?
कालच म्हणाली कुणीही भले केलेले नाही. मी लिहितो दारावर मागल्यांसाठी शेवटचा उच्चार. मी लिहितो दारावर मागल्यांसाठी शेवटचा उच्चार. सूर्यकुलातील लोकांना थांबणे माहीत नाही. त्या खाली कशाला हवे नाव, त्या खाली कशासाठी हवे नाव. निनावे म्हणतील म्हणून आपल्या हातांचे ठसे पुरेसे का नाही. अजून तुझी आवरा आवर झाली का नाही. अजून तुझी फुले माळून झालीच का नाही. अजून तुझी फुले माळून झालीच का नाही.
1947 साली भारताला स्वातंत्र्य मिळालं आणि नंतर या नव्या भारताचा एक जाहीरनामा घेऊन, एक सरनामा घेऊन भारतीय राज्यघटना 1950 साली अस्तित्वात आली आणि त्यानंतर झपाट्यानं सगळ्या भारतामध्ये लोकशाहीकरणाची प्रक्रिया सुरू झाली. साहित्य सुद्धा त्याला अपवाद नाही. वाङ्मयामध्ये सुद्धा लोकशाहीकरणाची प्रक्रिया सुरू झाल्यामुळे जे गट अद्याप साहित्यामध्ये आलेले नव्हते, जे लोक लेखनामध्ये आलेले नव्हते, ते सुद्धा माझ्याकडे सुद्धा सांगण्यासारखं काही आहे आणि मला ते सांगितलंच पाहिजे म्हणून हट्टाने पुढे यायला लागलेत. त्यात कामगार आलेत, दलित लोक आलेत, पुढे कालांतराने स्त्रिया आल्यात आणि मराठी साहित्यामध्ये 50 नंतर क्रमाने कामगारवर्गीय साहित्य, दलित साहित्य, स्त्रीवादी साहित्य.
In 1947, India became independent.
हा जो बदलाचा काळ,
In 1950, it became a constitutional republic. A process of democratization then began, which also transformed literature. New movements and voices emerged: the working class, the Dalits, and the feminists. Inspired by Marx, Phule, and Ambedkar, Narayan Surve and Baburao Bagul are the leading writers of this epoch. I would request Bagul to shed light on the spirit of the time.
युगधर्म होता, तो युगधर्म स्पष्ट करावा.
अगदी प्रारंभापासून जरी आपण विचार केला तरी मराठी वाङ्मय हे फार एक जातीय वाङ्मय आहे. बहुजन समाजातून जे कवी पुढे आले ते मुसलमान काळामध्ये आले, मुसलमान सत्तेच्या काळात आले. त्यामध्ये म्हणजे कबीरा म्हणा, किंवा सेना नावी म्हणा किंवा सावता माळी म्हणा नामदेव शिंपी म्हणा किंवा तोका मेळा म्हणा असे जे गोरा कुंभार म्हणा असे जे अनेक कवी आले. हे कवी कधी आले, यांना वाचा कधी फुटली, हे प्रकाशित केव्हा झाले? ज्यावेळेस मुसलमान लोक इथे सत्तेवर होते आणि वर्णव्यवस्थेच्या हाताची सत्ता केलेली होती. जी
From the outset, Marathi literature has been a monocommunal enterprise. It was only after the Islamic invasion that the Hindu feudal order could no longer suppress the plurality of voices of repressed castes and communities. Kabir, Sena the barber, Savta Mali, Namdev the tailor, Kora the potter. Later, Hindu feudalism was restored again and many writers revolted against it. Surve and myself were among them. Surve is a representative of that movement.
एक प्रतिनिधी आहे.
खरी तर जुनी मुंबई, पूर्वी वाड्या असलेली,
This is old Mumbai, the workers' dwellings, tenements and shanties. These pavements used to be broken then. Now, Mumbai has changed beyond recognition. Those old neighborhoods are gone and new skyscrapers have risen in their place. This entire shoreline has been transformed by a jungle of concrete. The working class seems to have all but disappeared.
आणि या इमारतीचं एक वेगळं जंगल तिथे आता उभं राहिलेलं आहे आणि कामगार भाग इथून जवळपास नष्ट झालेला आहे. ही माझी जुनी शाळा.
This is my old school. I was a sepoy here. Then I did my teacher training and became a teacher in another school.
हा आमचा गिरण भाग सगळा. आणि या
This is Elphinstone Mill.
ही आमची गिरण.
From 7 a.m., hordes of workers enter the gates of the mills, working 3 shifts a day.
हा सगळा कामगार एरिया आहे.
There was a time
सकाळी 6
when this area had its glory.
आणि त्यानंतर
Now
सुद्धा
it's gone.
वाड्यामध्ये चालणाऱ्या गिरणी. हे गिरणीचं
My
या
school
गिरण
used to be
भागाचे
here.
वैभव होते एकेकाळी.
The chawl dwellers here, some of them are still here,
परंतु वैभव आहे
used to work in the mills or were teachers in municipal schools.
ते बरेचसे राहणारे
This
चाळीतली जी मंडळी आहेत
is a fragment,
ते गिरणीत काम
a surviving fragment
किंवा इतर
of
शिक्षकी
the old history of Mumbai.
आणि अशा तऱ्हेनं आमचा एक जुना भाग अजून ह्या काही ठिकाणी जो वैभव जुनं टिकून आहे ते अजून आहे. कदाचित कालांतराने ते सुद्धा आता निघून जाईल अशी परिस्थिती आहे.
The question of wages and bread arises every day. Sometimes I'm inside the gate and sometimes outside it. A worker I am. I am the sword that flashes out. Literatures, I'm going to commit a small offense. I have suffered a little, seen a little, measured a little too. This labor pain carries my world's fragrance as well. I have fumbled at times. I have been deprived at times. I have learnt at times as well. How I have lived is reflected in my words as well. True, bread is dear to us all, but I want more than mere bread. And therefore, I am out to create a stamp of my own world. From here on, I place flowers in the hands of my words. From here on, I place scimitars in the hands of my words. I have not come alone. An age arrives with me. Beware, this is the beginning of a typhoon. A worker I am. I am the sword that flashes out. Literatures, I am going to commit a small offense now.